The lab door hissed shut behind me like a final judgment, sealing us in the velvet black of that cursed midnight hour. My heart hammered against my ribs as I pulled Alex close, our breaths mingling in the stale air thick with the scent of ethanol and unspoken sins. His lips crashed into mine, fierce and hungry, tasting of salt and something sharper, metallic, like blood from a fresh wound. In that stolen second, as his hands gripped my waist with a desperation that mirrored my own, I realized with a gut-wrenching twist that tang wasn't his. It was Ryan's. The bitter echo of my rival's cologne lingering like a ghost on his skin. I shoved him back, my palms slamming into his chest hard enough to echo off the stainless steel counters, the fluorescent hum above us flickering like a dying star. What the hell? Alex. My voice cracked, raw and ragged, the words tumbling out before I could cage them. We'd been dancing around this for months, late-night study sessions bleeding into stolen glances. His laugh cutting through my isolation like sunlight through storm clouds. Joseph Hale, the quiet kid from the wrong side of Boston's tracks, finally daring to reach for the golden boy of MIT's bioengineering program. But now it felt like I'd kissed a lie, and the truth clawed its way up my throat, choking me. Alex stumbled against the workbench, knocking over a beaker that shattered in a spray of glass and chemical foam, the acrid smell burning my eyes. His face, illuminated by the glow of his laptop screen, twisted not in guilt, but in something fiercer, like a cornered animal baring teeth. Joe, wait, it's not what you think. His voice was low, urgent, those blue eyes I'd memorized in stolen moments now pleading. But I saw it, the faint smear of red on his collar. Lipstick. No. Blood-dried flecks from a split lip. The kind you get from a fight. My mind reeled back to earlier that evening. Ryan's smug grin in the hallway. His taunt about knowing things you don't. Hale. Ryan Whitaker, the trust fund prick who'd made my life hell since freshman orientation. Always one step ahead. Always twisting the knife in my ambitions. My identity. My everything. I turned away, my sneakers crunching over the shards, the pain in my soul mirroring the one blooming in my chest. The lab felt smaller now, walls closing in like the judgmental stares I'd fled from back home in Dorchester. Me parents' church-going silences after they found my hidden sketches of boys instead of girls. The whispers in high school hallways that branded me before I could even say the word gay out loud. Alex was supposed to be different. My anchor in this pressure cooker world of pipettes and peer reviews, where I'd clawed my way into MIT on scholarships and sheer grit. We'd bonded over failed experiments and shared dreams of curing rare genetic disorders. His optimism a balm to my cynicism. But Ryan, he was the poison, the one who'd outed me anonymously to the department head last semester, nearly tanking my research grant. And now Alex, my Alex, carried his scent like a badge of betrayal. Talk to me, I demanded, spinning back to face him, my fists clenched at my sides. The emergency lights cast long shadows, turning his features into a mask of regret and resolve. He ran a hand through his blonde hair, the gesture so familiar it twisted the knife deeper. Ryan. He's not who you think. None of us are. His words hung heavy, pulling me into the undertow of whatever storm he'd been hiding. I wanted to run, to bolt from this underground bunker of secrets beneath the main campus building. But my feet stayed rooted, drawn by the magnetic pull of those eyes. The ones that had made me feel seen for the first time. He stepped closer. Careful now. Like approaching a skittish deer. Remember that conference in DC last month? The one where Ryan cornered you in the hotel bar, spilling your drink and laughing it off like the asshole he is. I nodded. The memory sour Ryan's breath hot with whiskey. His slurs slithering out. Freak like you doesn't belong here. Alex had pulled me away that night. His arm around my shoulders a secret shield. What you didn't see was what happened after. Ryan followed me to my room. He came out to me. Joe. Drunk. Furious. But real. Said he'd been fighting it his whole life. Same as you, same as us. The air sucked out of the room. Ryan. The golden boy with the perfect girlfriend facade. The one who'd sabotaged my prototype neural implant by swapping reagents. Gay. It didn't compute. Yet the pieces clicked with horrifying clarity, the lingering stares and lectures. The anonymous emails I dismissed as hate mail now reading like desperate cries. Alex's hand found mine. Tentative. His thumb tracing circles on my knuckles. He kissed me that night. I pushed him away. Told him about you, how I feel. How I've been waiting for the right moment. But tonight, he showed up here, begging for help. He's got this thing. Joe, a genetic marker we both flagged in our research. It's aggressive. Like what your mom's fighting back home. My mom's face flashed in my mind, pale and fragile in her hospital bed. The ALS diagnosis, a thief stealing her laugh day by day. That's why I'd poured my soul into this lab. Into mapping neural pathways for a cure. Ryan's family money funded half the department. But his secret illness. It humanized him in a way that made my stomach churn. So you what? Pity fucked my enemy to make him feel better. The words lashed out. Venom born of hurt. But Alex flinched like I'd struck him. No. God. No. We talked, fought. Actually. He punched the wall. Split his lip on his ring. I was cleaning him up when you walked in. His gaze dropped. Shame etching lines around his mouth. I admire you. Joe. Your fire. Your refusal to break. Ryan. He's broken already. Hiding behind cruelty because he's terrified. Like I was. Before you. The confession hung between us. A bridge over the chasm of my rage. I thought of my own closet days. The nights I'd cried into my pillow after Dad's disappointed sighs. The first time I'd admitted to myself in this very lab. Staring at my reflection in a petri dish. That I loved men, their strength. Their vulnerability. Alex had cracked me open gently. With shared coffees and quiet confessions about his conservative Texas upbringing. And Ryan. Maybe he was the mirror I needed. Reflecting my own shadows. I pulled him back in. Slower this time. Our kiss tentative. Tasting only of us now sweat and sincerity. But as our lips parted, the lab door buzzed again. And Ryan stumbled in. Wild-eyed. Clutching a USB drive like a lifeline. Hail. He rasped. Voice thick with unshed tears. I know what I did. But this datate's yours. The breakthrough on the inhibitor. Take it. Before I destroy everything. The three of us stood frozen in that electric triangle. The hum of servers underscoring the pounding of our hearts. Betrayal. desire, redemption, it all swirled in the dark, forcing choices that could save or shatter us. And in that moment, I realized the real experiment wasn't in the vials. It was us, raw and real, rewriting our fates one risky step at a time. The hours blurred into a frantic haze as Ryan slumped against the door, his designer jacket rumpled, eyes darting between Alex and me like a man cornered by his own reflections. I wanted to hate him, God. How I wanted Tobit. The USB in his trembling hand glowed under the lab lights like a forbidden fruit, promising the very salvation I'd bled for. My mom's latest scan results burned in my pocket, a reminder of why I'd sold my soul to this underground warren of wires and wonders. Why? I finally whispered, my voice barely cutting through the whir of cooling fans. Why give it to me now? Ryan's laugh was bitter, a jagged sound that echoed off the concrete walls. He was 24, 2 years my senior, with that polished wasp perfection, tall, broad-shouldered, his dark hair slicked back even in chaos. But tonight the cracks showed, stubble shadowing his jaw, a bruise blooming purple under his left eye from whatever demons he'd wrestled earlier. Because you're better than me. Hail. Always have been. I saw it from day one. Your code, cleaner than mine. Your hypotheses, bolder. I hated you for it. Made you the villain in my story so I wouldn't have to face mine. Alex moved first, guiding Ryan to a stool, his touch clinical yet kind, the medic in him overriding the mess of emotions. I watched, torn jealousy flickering like a faulty circuit, but curiosity winning out. Ryan had always been the enemy, the one who'd accidentally leaked my personal email to the frat bros, sparking rumors that nearly got me jumped after a tailgate party. I'd hidden in my dorm for a week, nursing bruises and a deeper wound, vowing to outsmart him at every turn. Yet here he was, unraveling, his facade crumbling like overcooked agar. His marker, Alex murmured, glancing at me as he swabbed Ryan's lip with antiseptic from the first aid kit. It's the same variant as your prototype targets. Accelerated onset, he's known for 6 months. Ryan winced at the sting, but his eyes locked on mine, unflinching. Daddy's lawyers buried the diagnosis, said it'd tank the family legacy. Whitaker Pharmaceuticals can't have a weak link. Sarcasm dripped from his words, but beneath it, pain raw, aching, the kind that binds strangers in shared suffering. I snatched the USB, plugging it into the nearest terminal, my fingers flying over the keys. Lines of code scrolled up, elegant algorithms I dreamed of, now refined with data streams I recognized as stolen from my own backups. You hacked me, I accused, but there was no heat left, just weary understanding. Ryan nodded, sliding off the stool to peer over my shoulder, his breath warm on my neck, a proximity that sent unwelcome sparks down my spine. Up close, he smelled of expensive aftershave and vulnerability. The cologne I'd tasted on Alex, now a mocking reminder of how thin the line between foe and fragile really was. It started as sabotage, he admitted, voice low. Mess with your work. Prove I was superior. But then, I saw the files on your mom. The letters you'd written but never sent, begging for funding. It hit too close. His hand brushed mine on the mouse. Accidental. Electric. I jerked away, heat flooding my face. Alex tensed beside us, his jealousy a mirror to mine. But he said nothing, just queued up the simulation. The screen blooming with projected neural maps. Pathways lighting up like hope. We worked through the night. The three of us in uneasy alliance at the console. Alex calibrating the models. Ryan feeding in proprietary sequences his father would kill to keep secret. Dawn crept in through the ventilation slats, painting the lab in bruised purples and golds. As the first viable inhibitor pathway stabilized on screen. It works. Alex breathed, his hand finding my shoulder, squeezing with quiet triumph. But Ryan pulled back, shadows deepening under his eyes. It's yours. Patent it under your name. I'll handle the fallout. I turned to him, searching that guarded face for the monster I'd built in my mind. And you? What happens to you? The question slipped out softer than intended, laced with the empathy I'd fought so hard to bury. He shrugged, but his voice cracked. I come out. To the world. To him. A nod toward his absent father. The empire builder who'd molded him into a weapon. Or I don't. Either way, I'm done hiding. The weight of it settled over us, heavy as the humid Boston air outside. Alex pulled me aside as Ryan stepped out for air, his arms wrapping around me in the alcove by the centrifuge. I should have told you sooner, he whispered, lips brushing my temple. About him. About us all being tangled in this web. I leaned into him, the steady beat of his heart grounding me. We're all tangled. Alex. But maybe that's how we untie the knots. By midday, we'd emailed the prelims to my advisor. Anonymous, source be damned. Ryan lingered at the door. USB empty now. His posture straight, but eyes soft. Hail Joseph, thanks. For not making me the villain anymore. I nodded. Throat tight. We're all a little villainous. It's what makes the heroes real. As he left, Alex kissed me again. Slow and sure. In the full light of day, filtering through the blinds. No ghosts this time, just us. Building something unbreakable from the ruins. Weeks melted into a rhythm of guarded hope. The lab, our fragile sanctuary amid the autumn chill sweeping Cambridge's brick-lined streets. My mom's doctors back in Dorchester called with cautious optimism the inhibitor trials greenlit. Her progression stalled like a storm cloud holding its reign. I walked taller, the scholarship weight lifting just enough to breathe. But shadows lingered, Ryan's absence a specter. His emails sporadic cryptic updates on boardroom battles. A single photo of him at a pride rally in D.C. Rainbow flag draped over shoulders that no longer bowed. Alex and I dove deeper. Our nights a blend of code and caresses. His apartment a haven of exposed brick and fairy lights overlooking the Charles River. He'd murmur hypotheses into my neck as we tangled in sheets. His body a map I traced with reverent fingers, lean muscle from weekend hikes. Freckles dusting his shoulders like stars. You're my constant variable. He'd tease. But his eyes held a seriousness that mirrored my own fears. What if the data lied? What if we were just fooling ourselves into safety? Then came the leak. It hit like a nor'easter headline screaming, MIT scandal. Stolen Whitaker data fuels gay students' breakthrough. My inbox exploded, reporters sniffing for the gay angle. Classmates who'd ghosted me now demanding congratulations laced with pity. I slammed my laptop shut in the student union. The roar of chatter fading to white noise as panic clawed my chest. Outed again. This time on my terms. Another byline traced back to Ryan's ex. A vengeful sorority girl he'd ghosted post coming out. Her tell-all blog painting him as the predatory rich kid corrupting the lab. I found Alex in the quad. Snow flurries dusting his hair like powdered sugar. His face ashen as he scrolled his phone. "It's everywhere," he said, pulling me into a hug that smelled of pine and worry. We trudged back to the lab. The underground cool-a-bomb. But Ryan was waiting, pacing like a caged panther. His coat slung over a chair. Sleeves rolled up to reveal fresh ink. A small rainbow circuit board tattooed on his forearm. Defiant and new. "You knew she'd talk," I accused. But my anger fizzled against his exhaustion. He looked older. Lines etched deeper. The wasp polish chipped. I hoped. Stupid. But it's done. Boards cutting me off, Dad's disowning clause activated. His laugh was hollow. Funny how queerness trumps blood money. Alex poured coffee from the ancient percolator. Black and bitter. Handing mugs around like peace offerings. We sat on the worn stools. The hum of equipment, our only soundtrack at first. "We fight it," Alex said finally. His optimism a spark in the gloom. Joint pressure truth serum. Joseph's work. My models. Your data. We own the narrative. Ryan's eyes met mine over the rim of his mug. A flicker of something unspoken: gratitude. Regret. Desire. It unsettled me. That pull. Like gravity defying logic. I'd always seen him as the straight line to my chaos. But now he curved toward me. Human and hurting. "Why help?" I asked. Voice steady despite the storm inside. "After everything." He set the mug down. Leaning forward. Elbows on knees. Because that night in D.C. when I kissed Alex, it wasn't pity or power. It was seeing him light up talking about your passion. Your pain. Made me want what you have, someone who sees the real me. Not the mask. His confession landed soft. Vulnerable. Stripping him bare. I glanced at Alex, who nodded subtly. His hand finding mine under the tablia, silent affirmation that love wasn't a zero-sum game. We drafted the statement that afternoon. Words weaving our truths. Joseph's grit-born genius. Alex's steady heart. Ryan's redemption arc. By evening, it went live our story. Unapologetic. Laced with the raw edges of identity and illness. The backlash hit hard, trolls flooding comments with slurs. Dad's voicemails thundering Bible verses. But the allies rose to donations pouring into the trial fund. Emails from kids like us saying, "You made it okay to be me." That night, snow blanketing the city in hush. Ryan crashed on Alex's couch. The three of us sharing takeout Thai in the glow of the TV playing old rom-coms. Laughter bubbled up unexpected, easing the knots. As Alex dozed against my shoulder, Ryan caught my eye from across the room. "You're brave. Hail. Braver than I'll ever be." I shrugged, but his words warmed me. A bridge forming where a wall once stood. In the quiet hours, as Alex slept and Ryan stared out at the falling flakes, I realized the real kiss that tainted one in the dark lab had been the catalyst, forcing us to taste the bitterness and spit out the sweet truth beneath. Spring thawed Boston's bones. Cherry blossoms rioting pink along the esplanade as our trial hit. Phase 2. Mom's hands steadier. Her smile brighter during video calls. Her voice teasing. That boyfriend of yours treating you right. Joey. I'd blush. Alex waving from off-screen. His presence a quiet revolution in our fractured family. But Ryan's war escalated. Lawsuits from Whitaker Pharma piling up like storm debris. His apartment seized, forcing him into a dingy sublet near Fenway. Ramen his staple. I visited under pretense of data handoff. But truth was, curiosity Nawada need to see if the man who'd haunted my nightmares could fit into daylight. He answered the door in sweatpants and a faded Harvard tee. Stubble full. Eyes shadowed but sparking with that old fire. Slumming it with the enemy. He quipped, stepping aside to a space cluttered with takeout boxes and dog-eared, queer-lit Audrey Lorde dog-eared. James Baldwin underlined in frantic red. We worked at his rickety kitchen table. Laptops syncing neural sims. But talk veered personal. Barriers dissolving like sugar in rain. He spoke of boarding school cruelties, forced mascots. Crushes buried in locker room bravado. I shared Dorchester dives. First fumbling kiss behind a dive bar dumpster. Tasting freedom and fear. You ever think? He ventured, pausing to render, that maybe I targeted you because you were safe. A threat I could control, unlike the chaos inside. His vulnerability hit like a rogue wave, pulling me under. Alex knew I was here, encouraged it. Even. His trust a gift I'd never squander, but this felt charged. Edges blurring. When our hands brushed, reaching for the same flash drive. Neither pulled away. His skin warm. Calloused from gym weights. Mine trembling slightly. Ryan. I started. But he leaned in. Not kissing. Just close enough for breath to mingle. Whiskey on his tongue from a hidden flask. Don't. I said. But softly. Regret threading the word. He backed off. Chuckling, self-deprecating. Yeah. Boundaries. Learning him the hard way. We finished the sync in charged silence. But as I left, he pressed a key into my palm, not to his place, but to the lab's back in trance. For late nights. In case Alex is busy. Allies. Right. Back home. Alex pulled the story from me over cannellate pasta. His jealousy a flicker quickly doused by understanding. He's part of this now, he said, tracing my jaw. We all are. Messy, but real. Our lovemaking that night was fervent, reclaiming his body arching under mine. Gasps echoing off the walls. A reaffirmation that my heart belonged here. Steady and sure. But doubt seated, a late-night text from Ryan. A blurry photo of the Charles at dusk. Caption, wishing for clearer waters. I showed Alex, who smiled wryly. He's falling for you, Joe. Or the idea of you. Panic spiked. But so did clarity, this polytangle. Unspoken. Testing our limits. The crisis peaked at the regional conference in Philly. Our panel a powder keg, queer innovators in biotech, breaking barriers. Crowds packed the hall. Flashbulbs popping as we took the stage in a crisp button-down. Alex beside me in chinos. Ryan at the end. Tie loosened like a noose half-slipped. Questions flew. Ethics of stolen data. Personal tolls of visibility. Ryan fielded the ugliest, How does your sexuality factor into the scandal? With a steady gaze, it factors like air essential. Invisible until denied. Joseph's work saved my life. Loving men. That's just living mine. Applause thundered. But backstage, tension crackled. A donor cornered Ryan. Whispers of reinstatement if he played straight. His face paling as he stormed out. I followed into the rain-slick alley, finding him against the brick. Fists bloody from punching a dumpster. It's never enough. He snarled. Voice breaking. Always the freak. The failure. I pulled him into a hug, awkward at first. Then fierce rain soaking us. His sobs muffled in my shoulder. Alex appeared, umbrella in hand, joining without a word. Our triad huddling against the downpour. Enough, I murmured. You're enough. In that drenched moment, lines shifted, not erasure, but expansion kisses traded under streetlight glow. Tentative, tasting of rain and release. Back in Boston, we redefined us, dates for 3. Nights where hands wandered freely, hearts negotiating the beautiful chaos. Mom met them via Zoom. Her laugh approving, love's a lab. Boys' experiments welcome. Ryan's dad caved eventually. A grudging truce over brunch. Pride flickering in his eyes at the patent press release, Hale Whitaker protocol. Summer bloomed hot and healing. Our breakthrough a beacon for others like us, kids coding in closets. Scientists silenced by shame. In the lab that started it all, under stars visible through the vent, we toasted with beakers of cheap wine. To tastes that linger. Alex grinned, clinking mine. Ryan's eyes met over the rim. Warm. And to enemies who become home. I kissed them both. Sequential. Savoring the blend, no bitterness left. Just the sweet complexity of love's true formula. Fall's amber leaves carpeted MIT's lawns as Phase 3 loomed. Our data a golden ticket to national trials. But personal storms brewed darker. Ryan's reintegration into the family fold came with stringsboard meetings where his queerness was tolerated but not celebrated. Dad's discreet, advisor whispering conversion therapy pamphlets. He hid it at first. That erosion. But I saw the toll, skipped gym sessions. Flask emptier. Our shared nights laced with his silences. Alex noticed too. During a Red Sox game, tailgate beers flowing. Fireworks popping over Fenway's green expanse. Ryan downed his fifth, slurring toasts to forgotten sons. His arms slung heavy over my shoulders. Fingers lingering too long. Alex pulled me aside amid the cheering crowd. His face tight under the stadium lights. He's spiraling. Joe. And using us as anchor. Worry etched his brow. The man who'd once been my uncomplicated joy, now navigating polycule currents with quiet strain. We confronted him post-game, walking the misty streets back to Alex's place. Halogen lamps pooling gold on wet pavement. Talk, I said, stopping under a sycamore. Leaves rustling like uneasy whispers. Ryan leaned against the trunk, eyes glassy. What's to say? I'm the punchlinerich kid comes out. Gets the boys. But daddy's checkbook says play pretend. Bitterness curled his lip, but tears tracked salty paths down his cheeks. Alex stepped in, hand on his arm. Then don't pretend. With us. At least. The dam broke, then Ryan collapsing into sobs. Confessions pouring, the advisor's sessions. Guilt tripping him with family legacy. The fear that loving us meant losing everything. I held him as he shook. Alex murmuring affirmations. Our embrace a bulwark against the world's grind. You're not alone, I whispered, echoing words I'd longed to hear as a teen. That night, we didn't make love. We simply held space. Bodies entwined in platonic comfort on the king-sized bed. Breaths sinking like a lullaby. Morning brought resolve, Ryan ghosting the advisor. Emailing his father a blistering ultimatum: accept all of him or lose him forever. The reply was a curt meeting. Tuesday. We prepped him like a deposition, Alex role-playing the patriarch's barbs. Me scripting comebacks laced with data on queer contributions to science. You're Whitaker too. 0. I teased, adjusting his tie in the mirror. Queer. Brilliant. Unbreakable. The meeting was a battlefield, Ryan recounting it over whiskey sours at Legal Seafoods. Harbor views glittering like distant promises. Dad had raged, then cracked, admitting his own buried bisexuality from Yale days. Suppressed for the empire. Hugged me at the end. Ryan said, voice wondrous. Called you both the family that matters. Laughter bubbled. Relief fizzy as the drinks. Our hands linking under the tablia circuit complete. But my own ghost stirred, Mom's remission party back home. A Dorchester backyard bash with Polish sausages grilling and polka blaring from a boombox. I'd invited Alex and Ryan. Nerves jangling like loose wires, family who'd prayed away my phase. Aunts whispering about that lifestyle. Mom, vibrant in her wheelchair, pulled me aside amid the laughter. They're good for you. Joey. Lighting your eyes I haven't seen since you were knee-high. Dad grunted approval over beers with Alex. Bonding over engine talk. While Ryan charmed the cousins with biotech tales. His ease disarming old suspicions. Yet tension simmered. Uncle Frank's slurred Bible quote at the fire pit. Eyes on Ryan's tattoo peeking from his sleeve. Sodom and Gomorrah. Ryan stiffened. But I stepped in. Voice steady. Love's love. Uncle. Saves lives, mine. Mom's. Silence stretched. Then Dad clapped Frank's back. Enough. Past the crowd. It was an absolution. But a truce. Fragile as autumn frost. That night. Crashing at my childhood home. The three of us squeezed into my twin bed, giggles turning to kisses. Exploratory and tender. Hands mapping familiar terrains with new intent. Ryan's mouth on my neck. Alex's fingers interlacing, ours a symphony of sighs. Bodies moving in harmonious rhythm. Claiming joy amid the creaks of old floorboards. Winter whispered in with trial approvals. Headlines shifting from scandal to salvation. Queer trios cure. A love story in lab coats. Invites flooded TED Talks. Pride keynotes, but we carved space for us. Weekends at Ryan's reclaimed Cape Cod cottage. Waves crashing as we built sandcastles of dreams. This, Alex said one dawn, tangled in sheets overlooking dunes, is the real experiment. Yet cracks tested, a rival lab poaching our IP. Forcing all-nighters where tempers flared, Ryan accusing me of naivety. Me snapping at his privilege. Alex mediated. His calm the glue. But exhaustion bred doubt. One blizzard-bound evening. Power out. Candles flickering. Ryan confessed over board games. I love you both. Terrifyingly. Alex's eyes welled. Mine too echoed it back. Vows unspoken but sealed in tear-streaked kisses. Resilience won, lawsuits quashed. Patents ironclad. Spring's renewal mirrored ours, mom walking unaided at our commencement. Tears streaming as we donned gowns. Ryan's dad in the crowd. Arm around a partner from his past. Diplomas in hand. We faced the world. Not as enemies or admirers, but equals in love's grand design. Summer's heat wave baked the city. Our post-grad lives a whirlwind, me heading a startup in Kendall Square. Alex consulting for startups. Ryan bridging Whitaker's ethical pivot toward inclusive research. The lab. Now ours via grant. Buzzed with interns' diverse faces. Stories shared over pizza Fridays. Normalizing what once hid in shadows. But legacy haunted, a documentary crew filming our origin story. Mike's thrusting into raw nerves. Tell us about the kiss. The director pressed Ryan during a sit-down. Lights harsh. He glanced at me, smirking. Tasted like betrayal and the best plot twist ever. Laughter cut tension. But later, alone in the green room, he pulled me close. Truth. It tasted like you. Even then. Lingering. Alex joined. Script in hand for the voiceover narrative. Reclaimed. Filming wrapped with a group hug on the lab floor. Symbolic full circle. Release night packed a Somerville theater. Cheers erupting at the kiss reenactment, tasteful cutaway. But our cheers loudest. Personal tides turned, mom's full recovery. A family trip to Provincetown. Rainbows everywhere. Dad toasting to Joey's boys with awkward pride. Ryan's dad came out publicly. Board shaking but stocks steady, legacy redefined. Yet intimacy evolved. Date nights alternating pairs. Triads for Milas Denisa cabin getaway in the Berkshires. Leaves turning. Where we hiked trails hand in hand. Pausing at overlooks to affirm. You're my constants. I told them. Wind whipping. Variables worth every equation. Challenges persisted. A homophobic funder pulling support. Forcing pivot crowdfunding via queer networks. Rallying thousands. Through it, we grew therapy sessions, unpacking privileges. Past wounds. Ryan sponsoring at-risk youth. Alex mentoring in Texas. Me speaking at high schools. Your lab's waiting, bring your whole self. Autumn deepened bonds. Proposal under lab lights. Alex on one knee with a ring etched with neural paths, marry us. Ryan and I, yes and G in unison. Tears mixing with laughter. Wedding small. Beachside waves as witnesses. Vows weaving science and soul. In darkness. We found light. In enmity. Love. Years folded forward, startup acquired. Cures scaling globally. Kids via surrogacy. 2 boys with Alex's eyes. Ryan's grin. My curiosity. Family barbecues blending Dorchester grit with Cape polish. Stories swapped like heirlooms. In quiet moments. Revisiting that dark lab, now a museum exhibit, I'd kiss them. Tasting home, no enemies. Just us. Eternal admirers in love's luminous proof. The decade blurred in a tapestry of triumphs and tender trials. Our family, a living lab of love's variables. Our sons, Eli and Theo, 8 and 6, then raced through Cambridge parks. Their questions precocious. Papa Joe. Why do you kiss Daddy Alex and Daddy Re different? I'd kneel. Hazel eyes meeting theirs. Because love's a spectrum. Like colors each shade beautiful. Ryan, ever the dramatist, would swoop in with puppet shows of the three heroes versus the shadow beast, casting doubt as the foe we slayed together. Mom's foundation flourished. Chapters nationwide. Her keynote at our 10th anniversary gala stealing hearts. These men didn't just cure my body. They healed our souls. Dad. Softer now. Grizzled beard hiding smiles. Clapped Ryan on the back post-speech, good men. Oh. Whitaker Pharma. Under Ryan's ethical helm. Funded queer health initiatives. His dad's shadow a distant echo. Alex's book. Equations of the Heart. Top charts Marwar Meets Manifesto. Our kiss immortalized in prose that moved millions. Tours pulled him away. But FaceTimes bridged gaps. His voice, soothing bedtime routines. Tell the boys about the lab ghost who turned friendly. Challenges crept. Theo's school bullying over, 2 dads plus 1. Fists flying in the playground. We rallied parent-teacher huddle. Ryan's lawyerly poise dismantling excuses. Me sharing my scars. Alex facilitating art therapy circles. We're a team. Eli declared. Fist bumping us. Resilience our legacy. My own doubts surfaced mid-40s, a sabbatical in Silicon Valley. Isolation amplifying whisper Sam I enough. Nights alone. I'd video call. Their faces pixels of anchor. Ryan visited first. Surprising with a road trip down the coast, Big Sur cliffs mirroring our edges. His hand in mine as waves roared. You're the gravity. Joe. We orbit you. Love making under stars. Raw and reaffirming. Chipping at insecurities. Alex joined later. Our reunion a cascade of tears and touches. Vowing check-ins amid ambitions. Back east. We built rituals, monthly origin nights. Recreating that lab kiss with wine and whimsy. Laughter eclipsing old pains. Eli's coming out at 16 bisexual. Nervous over dinner mirrored my youth. But our arms enveloped. Proud. Kiddo. Theo's allyship fierce. School GSA president by 18. Weddings followed Eli's to his engineer beau in the lab. Vows echoing ours. Theo's poly-commitment ceremony on the Cape. Rainbows woven in. Grandkids arrived. Tiny labs of their own curious tots dissecting flowers. Demanding papa stories. We'd gather. Fireside. Spinning the tale, once. In a dark lab. A kiss tasted like enemy. But became family. Legacy etched in stone, endowed chairs at MIT. Scholarships for queer STEM kids from rough starts like mine. Ryan's 60th. Silver foxed and sage. Toasted us to taste that transformento enemies embraced. In twilight years. Hands linked on porch swings overlooking the Charles. We'd reflect kisses soft. Memories sharp. Best experiment. Alex murmured. Head on my shoulder. Ryan nodded. Eyes twinkling. Infinite variables. One constant, us. And in that enduring light. Love's equation balanced dramatic. Defiant. Deeply human proving even the bitterest beginnings yield the sweetest ends.